Hey, Louise.
Hi, Sarah.
Well, here we are to discuss the chapter page from Relinquished, which you just said, The Politics of Adoption and the Privilege of American Motherhood by Gretchen Sisson. Another birth mother talks about
Yes.
her experience. She gave up her daughter in 2006. Gretchen spoke to her in 2010 and then again in 2020. Interesting how things change, right?
Yeah,
How
I know. And I
it,
won't jump ahead, but there was a quote. She said, "Oh, I said that. I guess I would say that back then," or that
yeah.
it's interesting because we both, when you reflect back, you think, God, did I say those things? Did I think those things? I mean,
And
big shift.
in 2010, she was still, I guess, still in contact with the
Yes.
adoptive parents who, treated her like family, she felt at the
Right.
time, and was able to see her daughter Abby often. Um,
She had the rare experience of keeping up for years with the family and having contact. Also, there was when
well,
she had,
also, but like,
yeah,
uh, I wanted to bring in the point that she was a very close family with her
right,
family.
right,
She was young, first year of college. They were Catholic,
yep,
but during the whole process, they all had talked about, well, maybe there could be a parenting situation here.
right.
And once again, because she had chosen this family,
Shed guilt.
they, they guilt and misplaced loyalty to the adoptive family, even her own parents, who,
They
you
were all
know,
discussing it in the hospital.
hmm
Maybe there's a place this can happen and we can keep this baby. And then they all felt bad. It's like they were all pressured. It was very interesting to me.
yeah, it's that you know the industry is strong. It almost is like a sometimes subtle, other times not so subtle, strong arming.
Strong arming. Yeah.
Hmm.
Her first quote, just opening it, says, "It felt very much like this is what you do because this is what a good Catholic does. And never mind the trauma that you're incurring." I mean, that's kind of the whole family's feeling was, we said we'd do this. I guess this is
We better
better.
stick to our word. And she
Yeah.
did say that she saw the notes from the social worker
Mhm.
that said, and the social worker had said, I
Yeah.
don't think she's going to be able to place, which also I find that
Ugh.
wording problematic. I don't know why
It's
that
just
always
businessy.
jumps
That's
out at me.
why.
Yes, it just feels, it highlights the business aspect of it. Like there's
An
a
it and not a baby.
disassociation.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not a human, it's an
Hmm.
object that's being placed somewhere, like on the shelf,
Yeah.
for purchase. Yeah, so this was, even though she was very they all made the decision, and it, it's
Did you think it
still,
was weird also her OBGYN gave her the adopted family's profile? Do you
yes.
remember that? I thought, well, isn't that kind of not the place of the OBGYN?
It
How's that
feels like a
involvement
conflict of
happening?
interest.
That was weird because she said something like she thought this is all a little fuzzy, but he actually gave me the profile for an adopted family. I'm thinking, wait a second, how does that work? Is he involved with the agencies or maybe?
Kickback? Who knows?
That was weird.
And
Yeah.
then, now we're in 2020, and Abby is 13,
Hmm.
almost 14. And here you know, Paige gets into all this and like, wait, did I say that? Like you mentioned. Then talking about Abby, she says, because she now sees her on her
Yes.
own, right?
Right.
They were having texting, and the parents have basically disappeared, never really kept up that kind of relationship they'd had
She wasn't
early
really
on.
family, she's realized 10 years later.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
So Abby reaches out to her. This made me cry. She says
Yeah.
she also has this very anxious attachment. She's going to need a lot of therapy too. And if I got to
Mm.
make the parenting choices, she'd already be in therapy because it's heartbreaking to see. When we have visits and it gets close to the time for me to leave, she just clings to me and says, I love you. I love you. I miss you. I love you. I love you. Oh,
Mm.
it's heartbreaking. And that's going to be her path.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Yeah.
Um,
And she sees it. I mean, now she's part of it. And yeah, that's I'm glad you highlighted that. Also, I did want to say that she came into this. This is interesting because I didn't get this at the beginning, but she was raped, really, is how
I did
she.
not get that from the beginning
I
either.
didn't either because I don't think she got it, right?
I think
She
she was
wasn't
very, very, very confused. She had been a virgin. She'd had
young.
this boyfriend.
And she
She
kept saying, I didn't have
disassociated.
sex. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
have sex. Like she didn't. And then later she said, I just have this strong reaction to thinking about going to the Catholic school and thinking about abstinence only education. I remember the morning after the rape. This is 10 years later. So now she's able to say what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But the family, this is where she's problematic too. The adopted family will not let her tell the truth to her daughter about how she came into the world and blah, blah, blah. And she's not 18 yet. Well, at this time, she wasn't. So she doesn't tell the whole truth to the adoptee either because she's still protecting what they want. It's very
Right.
complicated, but the truth is people do want to know
You want to
long
know your
term.
origin story.
Hmm.
She did say, had that not been how she got pregnant, she would have
Yes.
parented herself. She would have
Yes.
kept Abby and parented herself. There's just so much tragedy in all of these stories. None of these are, I mean,
No.
relinquishment is just sad, no
Yeah.
matter the circumstance. It's sad.
Yeah. And at the very end, because she is Catholic, I mean, we're talking about this. I don't consider myself pro life anymore
Mm-hmm.
because now she's very strong for a woman's right to choose because she wants her daughter, Abby, to have
To
the
have
choice. She
choices.
didn't have
Yeah.
other choices. There wasn't a choice in her
Well,
world.
and I like that, where she says, I don't want anyone to use my story as a reason why women shouldn't have
Mhm.
the right to choose. It makes my skin crawl and puts me in this position of just wanting to scream. It just makes me vomit when people are like, God bless you for choosing life. There are so many assumptions made, and it's so manipulative. It's kind of abusive to use people's experiences like mine as a way to push your own agenda because you're making so many assumptions and you don't know.
Yep.
That was the end of the chapter.
And that's also what we get used for adoptees
Right.
as a storyline as well. I really related to that. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we have a Mark coming
yeah.
on, and he's got an interesting story. Next week, we will be covering mothers, martyrs, and myths for those of you reading along with us. That's a long one, so I imagine it's not going to be an easy one either.
No, and we're getting a little bit near the end, so it's ramping up.
Yes.
Well, see you in a minute.
See you in a minute.